Hello, welcome back. So I've got something, a topic I've been speaking quite a bit about, and if you're structuring your meals around literally just breakfast, lunch and dinner right now, you know, I'm going to tell you right this second, that's going to change. After this podcast, it is going to change. And if you're wanting to take your physique seriously, you're wanting to actually start to level things up, we need to stop thinking meals about just breakfast, lunch and dinner. We need to start structuring it in a different way, okay? So we're going to go through meal times. We're going to go through meal timings, distribution of protein. We're going to go through intake, digestion, and how it bloody matters, right? We're going to actually go through everything. If we're really wanting to see some changes, this is the one for you guys, all right? You're going to want to stick around to the end, as I am going to give you some juicy tips on how to actually structure your meals. If you're literally just following macros and hitting them across those 3 meals right now, it's going to rev things up a little bit, and we're going to go through how you're going to do that. And at the end, I'm going to go through why that is important, but also give you a juicy little free giveaway. So you're going to want to stick around for that, especially if you're wanting to grow, because it's going to be an absolute game changer. So your 3 meals a day just ain't cutting it. Okay, your glutes honestly deserve better, your delts deserve better, your quads deserve better, and frankly, you deserve better than that, all right? We know as gym goals, we probably don't see ourselves as normal, okay? You're probably thinking, I've never been quite normal. There's always been something that's slightly different for me from the rest, all right? You probably prefer to go to the gym than go on a night out. You probably prefer buying and spending your money on gym clothes than you do actual going out clothes. And I know for sure that you have a protein snack always on hand. That is always an emergency in your backpack, already ready to go. So if this sounds like a bit of you, then you're going to want to stick around for what I'm actually going to talk about. And I know that you want to understand your body and how to fuel it properly. You want to be able to actually eat more and see the results for all your hard work. Now that's going to come down to, you know, understanding a few bits about food, okay? So here are my top tips when it comes to seeing some real changes in your physique, but also digestion, energy levels, hunger levels, and recovery, okay? And that goes through appetite too. We all know we all have big appetites, all right? And that's for good reason. When we train, okay, when you go to the gym and you go train and you do the amount of expenditure you do, we expend a lot of energy doing that, right? So understanding that calories are energy, understanding that when we go train, we exert a lot of energy to be able to produce that much force. So when you're, you know, doing a squat, right? How are you able to lift that weight up? Your body's using energy and power to be able to apply force to be able to go up, okay? So understanding the calories and the fuel that we put in is essentially supplying our body for the actual performance that we're doing in the gym to actually create change. So when we understand that and understand that actually when we go train, we exert that energy, and overall the body is using the energy outside the gym as well. So when we go into the gym and say you're doing an RDL, you're creating and you're forcing your body to create change. When you're trying to do an RDL right, at the bottom of the movement obviously is the hardest and most taxing on the hamstrings and glutes. What I want you to imagine is it's causing like little micro tears in the muscle, right? And your body, when it goes outside the gym, is when it recovers and it needs energy to be able to repair those muscle fibers. And essentially that's when it slightly grows back ever so slightly a bit bigger, basically because it's like, holy damn, I need bigger muscles for this because I can't be able to hold that load, right? So what I want you to think about is we need energy going into the gym, we need energy when we're in the gym, and we also need energy when we're outside the gym. So there's all those arrays of why your food is different from just the average Joe and why you should start be treating it differently than everyone else's, all right? So building muscle honestly takes energy, a lot of it. It takes a lot of energy, more than you probably think. And that's why I always say that you're probably not eating enough for what you actually want to see results-wise and how much you're actually doing. You know, there's a reason why you're feeling fatigued. There's a reason why you're probably, you know, hungry after meals. There's probably a reason why you're going to your sessions in the morning at 6 a.m. feeling absolutely knackered, or halfway through your leg day, you're feeling like you've hit a wall. There is a reason for that. And feeling sore all the time. Your body's literally giving you like evidence like, hey, you know what, something's not quite right here. I haven't got the energy to recruit and recover from this. So we're feeling a bit taxed here. All this goes hand in hand. So all of those old-fashioned 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner, no longer serve you and essentially your goals, right? So previously that was fine, it worked, until it doesn't now, right? You're probably noticing that gap in between it. You know, your body requires constant meal feedings and timings being spread out throughout the day to get that nutrients that it needs to be able to grow, thrive, and ultimately see those results that you're wanting to see. I know you're training and you're training hard right now. You're really pushing your training, you're really pushing things to failure, which means you need to support it by giving it a constant flow of nutrients to support that training when it is outside the gym. Okay, so not just when it's in the gym or before the gym, when it's outside the gym too. So number one, overall, like, we've got to think of food of this, right? Overall caloric intake, now that you're wanting to grow and grow muscle tissue, is going to be higher now, right? You're going to be eating more calories. So due to your intense training and your overall expenditure levels actually being a bit higher, naturally your calories and macros will be higher, as well as obviously if we're wanting to grow muscle tissue, we need to be in a calorie surplus, right? To be able to do that. So meaning that we need to think of, okay, our food target, say it's 2,400, 2,500 start off with, you know, mid of our bulk or when we're in a calorie surplus doing whatever, right? Splitting that across 3 meals is quite a lot of food, right, in one go, right? So understanding that actually splitting this up into more meals, like 4 to 6 meals a day, is going to be a lot more attainable and better on your digestion than say 3. It will actually allow your body time to digest that food and give you a constant flow of energy. So if I give the example of 2,400 calories and say 140 grams of protein, 325 grams of carbs and 60 grams of fat, right? If that was your macro split, if you split that across 3 meals, we're talking about 799.6 calories. So let's say 800 calories if you had that in each meal, 108 grams of carbs and 20 grams of fat in each meal, right? I don't know about you, but 800 grams of food in one meal is quite hefty and probably not going to be the best on your digestion, but also like continuously giving you energy throughout the day. Compared to if I was to say, right, I'm going to split that macros up over 5 meals over the course of the day. So one at like say 7 a.m., one mid-morning, one at lunchtime, mid-afternoon, and then at nighttime. You know, we're talking a lot more sustainable amount of food to have in one go. So if we split that up over 5 meals, that'd be 480 calories, 280 grams, that's a lot of protein, 28 grams of protein, 65 grams of fat, 65 grams of carbs, oh my God, this is a lot, 12 grams of fat per meal. So that's a lot less, a lot more attainable macros compared to the 800 calories in the 3 meals. We literally nearly half it at 480 calories if we split it over 5. So a lot of you listening right now, you know, unsure of where your macros or your calories need to be to start seeing your physique grow, honestly, drop me a DM with the word actually macros, and I'm offering a free audit for any of you guys who drop me the word macros in my DMs so that I actually can have a look at your current macros, see where they're sitting, see where your goal is, and actually help you create a starting point with your macro split so you know where you're going, all right? So if you want that, make sure to drop me a DM because we can go through it together. Understanding it's a lot more attainable, so having those 5 meals is a great start. Okay, number 2 is digestive stress and optimizing that digestion. So as I sort of covered in that first one, I don't know about you, but it seems like a lot more manageable if I was to have a smaller meal, more spread out throughout the day. So if I was eating at 7 a.m, eating 480 calories, giving my body a couple hours to digest that, having sort of a nice flow of energy. Then around 10:30, I have that next meal, and then the same thing. It allows so much more time for your body to digest than saying, right, 7 o'clock, I've got 800 calories worth of food, then 1 p.m, 800 calories worth of food, and then waiting another, 5 hours for my dinner, and then having that again. It's just that constant supply of food easing out, so you optimize digestion, so you notice that we feel less bloated. You're noticing that you actually have that sort of you don't feel as heavy after you eat. You don't have a crash, from an influx of carbohydrates. You're actually having that constant line of energy, okay? Now, the third thing, which a lot of people don't actually think about, which is so vital, especially if you're training as hard as you are, is actually protein feedings throughout the day, okay? So understanding that we don't just want 3 protein feedings throughout the day. If we're wanting to grow muscle tissue, having a constant supply of protein feedings, at least around sort of that 5 mark, throughout the day, is going to really be optimal for when we're trying to grow, or even when you're not. Like, having those protein feedings and that constant stream of protein across the day is going to help, you know, with your body's supply of amino acids to help recovery, help with growth, but also help stop cramming in protein all in one go. We know protein is highly satiating, so having a big chunk of protein, like for instance 46 or 50 grams of protein in one go, is going to keep you really, really full, but also be quite heavy on your digestion. And having a constant stream of protein source throughout the day is literally like giving your body the building blocks of what it needs to recover. You know, your body knows that it's got that protein coming, so it's got the resources to be able to recover from your training in the morning that you did. It's not feeling like it's got a spike of hunger through the afternoon. You've got that constant stream that's going to help build the physique, but also the recovery that comes from it, okay? So I want you to imagine your body is literally like a car right now, okay? You want to start driving the best car out there, don't you? You don't want to like a beat up Prius or something, right? So that means when you start to fill your body up with, you know, the best fuel versus, say, leaving it on a red warning light constantly. Like, that's what I want you to start seeing food as, is we're trying to give it the best fuel and have the constant stream of fuel so it's not lagging, it's not sort of just like jittering and like sort of being clanky. You want to imagine the food that you eat is that constant streamline to perform your best, for that car to run for miles and miles and not feel like it's just like dragging its tires, right? So it's having that priority in place, that fueling it more efficiently is going to be allowing it to run the way you want it to be. You know, we can get away with 3 meals a day. Is it what is going to help you move the dial forward? No, it is not going to be the thing. So we need to ask ourselves, what do we need to do to really start to see some real changes, but also in other aspects. So recovery, you know, building that muscle tissue, performance, sleep, digestion, like the whole lot. Splitting your meals up more frequently throughout the day is going to be massively beneficial, okay? So hopefully that gave you a good breakdown. I'm just going to give a little recap, guys. If you are currently right now just having 3 meals a day, I want you to start by even just increasing that out to 4, right? You do not need to be cramming in food across the day, constantly eating, but we do want to start to prioritize meals more spread out, so we're getting that good amount of protein feeding throughout the day. We're getting that constant supply of food, constant supply of carbs, fat, so that we're more satiated. We're helping optimize our digestion by having smaller meals more frequently. We're not having energy crashes, and essentially you're prioritizing that recovery and nutrients to your body to give it that supply of protein so it can actually recover and grow. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you guys subscribe, and if you haven't already, go pop over and give us a review. I massively appreciate it, as well as dropping me a follow on Instagram if you don't already. It's coachedby.leah. And any tips, any questions, anything you guys want, just drop me a DM and I'm more than happy to help. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.